Hello, and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 261 for Friday, July 28th, 2023. LinuXoho, ooh la la. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
This is our 5-year anniversary show, Tyler. It has been five long years, and I am decked out, man. I mean,
I am fully decked out. I'm slightly less decked out. This is a Zenatta shirt, despite the fact that it's blue. So I've got a little bit going. I don't think I have one of those Zenatta hats. I don't know how I missed the boat on those, or the Zoho hat. So I'm feeling a little hat envy right now.
I need one with the new logo.
Oh, true. Very true. You're going to get a copyright issue with that using the old branding. They're going to come after you.
Now, speaking of old branding, I'm prepared. I got the original Zenatta logo going all the way back about 8 years. That was cool. Yeah. Yep. Made that myself.
The logo back when I was a client of Zenatta, all the way back in the day, 2017, 2018?
17?
Seems like a million years ago now.
Long time. Anyway, so if you watch the show on YouTube, you are slightly missing out because on the audio podcast, which is how the bulk of people listen to the show or what I guess consume our show, Wayne and Freddie throughout the years have gone through me, actually, when I was originally at it. We go through, we take the funniest moment from the show and we drop that in as a cold open. So when you go listen to that show, basically before anything happens, you listen to this little snippet from the show and then the show launches and goes out. So the Intrepid marketing team, Freddie, Wayne, have gone through piece by piece, all 260 episodes prior to this, and pulled out what they thought their favorite cold opens were throughout the year. And this goes all the way back. Shout out to Noah Johnson, who was the original co-host of this show, I think for the first 55 episodes. So we'll see some Noah in here, or hear some Noah anyway. And with that, take it away.
So it's a transactional email product, and they're calling it Transmail. Transmail.
It's a great name.
It's a Zoho name. But if you want to break up with Excel because you've had a bad relationship, you might want to check out that webinar.
Who doesn't want to break up with Excel? So.
Everybody needs to break up with Excel. It's like going from my second wife to my third wife, but it's hard to say to the third wife, hey, could you do things like the second wife? It just doesn't work, Noah. You got to go with the flow. We could take the massage one and we could name our development packages around massage type. So deep tissue is where we go in and we really, tear apart the CRM. For Swedish, we just talk to you and make you feel good, but nothing really happens. We could have a whole series of these basically. Just using these templates. We can make the template fit our business. I don't think it would be hard. So when you build your Zobot, what's your drug of choice? Is it caffeine, alcohol, or do you just bare knuckle it sober?
A big cup of coffee and to stiffen the resolve a little bit.
Perfect. Well, you know how fragile I am too. I mean, so
it doesn't take a lot to send Brett into a downward spiral,
into depression, and start drinking.
True to this day.
I don't know. So if anything, maybe this will keep me off the sauce.
Oh, I don't know if we had a show title that was any
doing my best here with my hotspot.
We didn't have a lot of comedy for a show title there, did we?
It's because I wasn't talking. I'm the funny one.
Yeah, I'm going to spin it up and start charging my kids to show up at the dinner table. They're going to have to buy tickets in advance.
Make badges.
I'm not going to take no offline payment mode for them, though, man. They need to pay in advance before they show up. That's right. I feel like they're taking advantage of me, Tyler. I don't know.
A little while back, and I think maybe a little more attention on it in that way highlighted for them that maybe it needed a rebrand.
Yes. Could we say Transmail was canceled? I don't know.
It was.
Ton of great enhancements. I mean, you talk about it. I can't do it.
I know where this is going. Yeah, Zoho, or I think, Brett, while you're on a nicotine withdrawal, you are not allowed to talk about Zoho Notebook.
I cannot.
Absolutely. I think this 24-hour one, this is for like long-distance lovers, right? They just want to fall asleep.
You want to fall asleep on the phone. It's kind of like what you and I do.
Snore.
We just use Discord when you and I want to do that, so...
Shh. No one's supposed to know, man.
I can't hear you. Oh boy.
Normally, this would be a dream come true for me. Normally, I can't get him to shut up. What? Sorry, what's that?
No, I thought you were going to say it would be a dream come true for my wife, but no. I was saying,
No, Tyler, I'm not going to give you a kiss again. Freddie's baiting us. Sorry, we did it once. It was cringeworthy enough as it was.
Kind of liked it. I don't know.
We have an ugly sweater contest to get to.
Someone in the chat said that it was comfortable and that we just need to find our inner European. So maybe I agree with that.
I like that.
I support our eventual AI overlords. Do not remove me in the great purge that we are headed towards.
It was funny. I was talking with Wayne, and he was showing me something on a screen, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I had ChatGPT do this," and I go, "Really?" And he shows me. It is the way he phrased it was, "Good morning, ChatGPT." And at the end, he wrote, "Thank you," just making sure he is on good terms with the
Only
AI.
want to be on good terms, just in case.
We don't do reads every week here on the CRM Zen Show, but when we find something that just tickles our rage bone, well, that's
Oh God, Brett, never say rage bone ever again. I hate that. That's a
I don't even know where that came from.
That's
Anyway,
a hard stop, a hard pass from me. Now I am enraged. Now I am legitimately angry that I had to hear you say that.
New design, it's very attractive. You can now subscribe to it.
Yeah, I really liked that. It's an attractive design. Like,
A chronological top-down list.
Revs my engine. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, well, let's keep it PG-13 here, Greg. We don't need to.
Yep.
Recall some of those past episodes when both parties were unhinged. I'll try to keep us on.
I am still master of my domain. Don't worry.
I bet you are.
Oh man, that episode Greg and I did ran over an hour, Tyler.
Yeah, that is when unhinged meets unhinged. It gets a little dangerous.
And Ragebone has stuck with us. It's all, it's internally now. We hear it quite often at the company. Hopefully one day it'll slowly disappear and go away. We'll see. All right. Well, that was a nice look back. I want to thank everybody so much for supporting us over the last 5 years. We've truly enjoyed doing it. And here's to another 5 years. And with that, let's just jump right on into announcements and events. Before we do that, just in case anyone wondered what I'm wearing, yes, this is an entire outfit. It even includes shoes. And even though you can't see them, I am wearing them. You know why? Because I commit, Tyler. I commit.
That is a full commitment. That's
That's right. You have to. If you're not going to commit, why bother? So, all right. And with that, let's get right on into announcements and events. So, Tyler, next month, we are doing our deep dive into Zoho telephony using Zoho Voice and other solutions. We're basically going to cover how telephony works, how PhoneBridge works, all of those kind of things. So if you are not familiar with Zoho telephony, you will want to tune into that.
The nice thing there is that, we're going to be covering the PhoneBridge integration and how that works. And that integration essentially works the same regardless of which specific VoIP option you have. So you got RingCentral, you got Vonage, you got DialPad, like whichever of those. Once you plug it into the PhoneBridge, the UI in Zoho is going to be essentially the same. We were going to do it, I think, on just Zoho Voice, but we kind of realized, let's do it more on just PhoneBridge across the board and all the different ways it plugs into Zoho.
Absolutely. And as always, if you head over to Club Zenatta, that is where we have all of our general discussion. It's our online community. It's where everybody kind of asks their questions. Other members support other people. And by the way, we get questions on here, and the questions on here we answer on our show Azaz, which is Ask Zenatta anything about Zoho. We do that show. By the way, prior to the show this morning, I'm getting dressed, and my wife Tina walks in the room, and she goes, "What are you getting all zazzed up for?" So evidently, this is getting zazzed up. That's what I like. So
I like that a lot.
Getting zazzed up. So please head over to club.zenatta.com and join our community. It is free. Just got to give us your email to join, and away you go. We promise we won't spam you. You will get our newsletter every week, and that's pretty much about it. So thank you, everybody, for your support over there. And with that, Tyler, let's jump right on into the news. All right, we're going to start with Bigin redefines efficiency with the latest Samsung updates. So evidently, I missed this. They're saying here that they're pleased to announce that Bigin's partnership with Samsung is continuing. I didn't get did you get the first notice on this?
Yeah, I don't think I got the memo that it started, but good to know it's continuing. Continuing is better than stopping. So, I'd rather have that. But yeah, I didn't know about this either. I guess they have some type of partnership. Makes sense to a certain degree, Bigin being kind of targeting that mobile, not iPad, but tablet, shows the mind share I have. I say iPad when I think tablet. But shows the tablet integrations, the phone integrations. It's kind of one of the main use cases for Bigin. But I had no idea that was like a formalized thing, right? Like logos right next to each other, like this thing's official, right? They inked a deal on this somewhere. Really cool to see. Yeah.
But it's been going on so long that they say this feels like an exciting sequel, kind of like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, something like that.
I've heard mixed reviews on that.
I liked it. I gotta say, I was making a joke. It's good. It's
better than Crystal Skull, because Crystal Skull was.
Crystal Skull was no good. This one was good.
Okay,
this one worked out well. It's kind of cool. A lot of cameos, and that kind of stuff. And anyway. By the way, you can tune in later to Brett and Tyler review the movies. That's a whole new podcast we're kicking off in our spare time. Anyway, so what they've done here is kind of cool. They're basically, they do this with Apple a lot. Apple has new features. They kind of really jump in with iOS, and they're always adopting those new features. You got the exact kind of thing going on here. Samsung has a whole bunch of foldables. They're supporting all the foldables. They're supporting the laptops. And just got some nice stuff. So you can use the pen, it's kind of cool. Got handwriting recognition. The example that they're showing on here is, I write the name David in handwriting, and it actually puts in the proper name. I'd love to see that.
I wonder if it could read my handwriting. How good is that detection? Because my handwriting, especially on a digital screen, is abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. So I might stick to typing. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love that.
Yeah. I have got an iPad and it has a pen, and I never used the pen. And when I did use the pen, which was years ago when the pen first came out, the handwriting recognition was horrible. But I don't know how Samsung's is, but if it's really that good, that's pretty amazing. If you're watching us on YouTube, that's kind of a scribble, kind of says Dan apostrophe.
On the left there, are they showing like checking off tasks? Like I'm drawing a check mark on a task and it's just completing it or moving the stage. It actually looks like pipeline there. But that's kind of nice as well.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. They're doing some really, really, really interesting things with this. Love to see this kind of thing come to regular CRM, not just Bigin.
Yeah.
But this is pretty nice pen recognition. And if you are using it on a tablet, pen really can kind of be the way to go.
Yeah.
So good stuff across the board. And you can simplify your workflow with gestures as well. Kind of looking at this and talking about this earlier, just kind of checking things off, and boom, moved it to close one. Just what you were saying.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, huh? Crossed it out. Ooh, I lost it. So there's some cool things on here. So if you are a Samsung user and you are using Bigin, your life just got pretty cool. Good job, team. Nice support. I like when they really support OSs natively. Kind of nice.
Absolutely. Use those tools, like it's like when we mentioned a couple times when Apple put out the OCR for the phones so they could do OCR. Now it was like 3 days later, every Zoho app had OCR, on the Apple devices. So they generally are pretty quick with these types of updates, which is really nice.
All right, moving on with the news. You can now connect and engage with your Line chat users right from SalesIQ. So Line is very similar to, what is it? What are the ones that everybody uses? WeChat, what's the one that I got it on my phone?
WeChat, Telegram, WhatsApp.
That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, it's kind of a WhatsApp kind of clone. I just went all Mitch McConnell there. What was it like?
That's topical. Look at that. That should be the cold open. It's just you in complete silence.
Where am
Holding
I?
back control.
Could you imagine Biden and McConnell in a room together? What a conversation. It's got to be still.
And be
Okay,
a moment of silence.
Leaders of the free world, we're fine. Anyway, if you're using Line, evidently this is real popular. You were saying earlier that
In Japan, so it's kind of referred to in the same way that WeChat in China, they call it the everything app, where it's chat, it's payments, it's e-commerce. Like Line is kind of in that same position, primarily in Japan. It's not only used there, but it is used there a lot. I know this integration for US users might not be a big deal. This is low on the totem pole of messaging apps. I know through a couple of partners that work primarily in Japan that this has been hugely demanded. They're consistently begging for this integration. Big shout out to Zoho. Really nice one for that market. If you're using it in the US, you got this now. So that's awesome. You're probably not though. But for overseas markets, this is going to be a really, really nice upgrade for the CRM.
Yeah, very cool too. They've got some bonus things on here. If a completely new visitor approaches your business from Line, their name is automatically going to get populated into the operator chat. Super slick. Get the contact. Yeah. Now it looks like they just didn't throw this integration together. Very, very, very nice job.
Well thought out.
For those of you who have a lot of clients using Line, life just got better. Moving on. We've got improvements to finding and merging duplicate records in the CRM. So if you're unfamiliar, in Zoho CRM, you basically you've got a couple ways. You can go in contacts and you can say dedupe, and it's going to kind of run through all your contacts and put you through certain things. You also can do it individually. They've made it so you can basically really dive down on your search parameters when you're doing this now. So you can kind of get a little more specific as to what you're looking for and matching various criteria and those kind of things. So kind of nice.
A couple little functional improvements as well here. I don't know if they noted it in this article, but they're supporting it for more modules. So custom modules as well as deals, which is a nice one to have. Huge. And then this next bullet is actually a really big one. So previously, when you do a deduplication using this tool, you pick a master record where you're going to preserve, by default, the fields from that record. The problem was if your master record was the second one created, Zoho would take that created time and that created by. Now they're going to use whichever one was first. So you don't need to pick the master based on which one's oldest in order to preserve accurate data. And that's actually a big deal because you're going to pull reports on from account closing to deal closed one, how long did that take? Or from account creation, right? Or lifetime value might be compared to account creation date, things like that. So it's actually a pretty big deal to fix that, even though it just gets kind of a small bullet on this update.
All right, good stuff. Now, we do have one little PSA on this. We've had some users over in Club Z, kind of talking about Club Z. Rich Brandwine has said that this is actually broken deduplication for us on occasional merges. We're seeing that the next screen on merge records come back with a blank screen. So they've been using it. It's causing some trouble. Curious if anyone else is having the same issues. If you are, please head over to Club Z, comment on this thread. We'd like to know what you guys are seeing as well. I don't know if we've seen that issue. I don't think we have, but maybe it's a one-off. Maybe it's not. All right, and with that, we're going to wrap up the news with a story from Sridhar that Zoho is planning on building its own OS. So, title of the show. So
it looks like it's going to be based on Linux. Is that right? Yep. Going to be based on a Linux operating system.
Yeah, everything. Anytime anyone builds an OS, it's going to be based on Linux. So I'm not certain, they came out with their own browser, Ula, which I think is great. Super nice, privacy-focused browser, Chrome-based. A lot of, by the way, on that little PSA, if you're trying to use Ula and you want to get everything over from Chrome or any other Chromium-based browser, the browser you're wanting to import from must be completely closed. It cannot be running, otherwise it will fail. We had a lot of people trying to move to Ula, and I was seeing that happen, and I Meant to get that into one of our shows. Not that anyone will listen to it, but we might want to do a little trick on. We should do a tutorial on migrating to ULA, because I think a lot of people are using Zoho browsers. Nice browser, really is. Anyway, they're going to make an attempt at their own Linux version. I don't know why. For those few people in the world who still use it, you've got Ubuntu, you've got Fedora, you've got Red Hat. Oh, that's more server-based. But there are a lot of great distros out there that have spent decades building and refining and doing things. So
odd one, like sometimes when they build these tools, it makes sense, right? So like they build their own data centers, and they mention in here that they're working on, building out their own hardware for those data centers and things like that. And that is odd for a SaaS company to do, but I get it, right? Because if you own that part of your supply chain, you might be able to end up paying less for, the servers, and you can keep the price down. I know for them, their argument has always been building things ourselves allows us to in-house them. We don't have to pay profits to other people, and it keeps the price down. A customer-facing OS, I think, is a little different for me. I don't get the play there, because it's not like an internal cost-saving tool, right? It's just a standalone. Yeah. I don't know who's going to use it.
That's yours. They're talking about making some devices. So maybe, Linux distro is a very loose, broad term. Chromebooks technically are Linux, right? But they only boot the browser. They only boot Chrome, right? So maybe they're just planning on making because they're saying for laptops, maybe they're just making a straight up distro that just basically boots
ULA. An ULA.
Yeah.
I heard it here first, folks. That's my guess. I think you're probably right? Get into the devices market. Because they want to be, what did they say in here? A champion company from India, that really super skills. So we'll see. It's one of those things you never know till you see it. Chromebooks are pretty popular, right? So if they're going to make a play like that, sell it really low price, right? They could, maybe if not to win the US market, could surely maybe push some volume in India where they've got a lot more brand recognition for devices. But in the US, it's hard for me to see how that play is going to work out. It's got to just be not really for us, would be my guess.
Well, I mean, if you're running 100% Zoho, which is 100% cloud-based, right, you're pretty golden, I would guess. I don't know, is Ariata? Is that, do they have a desktop version of that?
The chat app, the ill-fated chat app that they released a couple of years back.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, kind of interesting. Nice little, be curious to see what they do there. Maybe since there was really no reason to release a browser either. Brave was great. Although I tell you, I like ULA because I don't have to get my Bitcoin points, what you do with Brave. So see what they did there. And before we wrap up, since it's a slow news week, I kind of wanted to hit on a shout out here at 5 years. 5 years, big shout out to Zoho for giving me the Zoho notebook for CRM extension and marketplace plugin. I know this was released about 4 or 5 months ago, but the official release was only a couple months ago. And we had a question come in the other day about it, and I kind of did a little whole screen share and went in it. I've been using it for a while, but they're making changes to it now. You actually can, if you put this in, you can migrate all your notes from the old notes into
the CRM, like the CRM notes can migrate, which is huge. That's like one of the biggest limiters in not using it is people that go, dude, I've been taking notes on this account for a year and a half. You know, like I need these. I can't not have these. So the migration's a huge little thing. They kind of snuck it in. You were asking us if I knew it was there that you could do that. I don't think so. They must have just got demand for it, so they did it, and works well. We've tested it.
And if you want to head over to, if you're not familiar, we do a show called Azaz. And this week, actually, the show that dropped yesterday, we discussed, this question was asked about using it, Tyler. And, it's I do a video share where I kind of take you through the various extensions. There's one for projects as well, and kind of step you through how the whole thing works and writing the notes and what it does. And, but I have to say that the CRM side of things, super stoked. Really, really nice. Yeah. So I just want to bring this. It's been 5 years. Every single year we end the show with, we do our year in review. And my one thing I'm begging Zoho for is this to happen, and they finally did it. So
Hopefully they stuck the landing, like sometimes, and this isn't really a knock on them, but they'll put things out that are a little too soon, and then they'll fix them up based on the feedback, which actually I don't hate that as a mode of getting software out the door. But this one, it feels like pretty well buttoned up for how recently it came out. So maybe they just wanted to really shut you up. They're sick of it. They've got a picture of you up on the wall on the dartboard.
Oh, they did.
Just throwing them. Who's going to finally shut this guy up? And they did it. So kudos to you, Zoho.
Rock and roll. All right, with that, Tyler, let's get right on into the code share of the week. Actually, implementation of the week.
Implementation of the week. Yeah, almost threw me off. So this implementation this week, this was built out by Hunter Davis, who's on our team. Former developer, now consultant, kind of did this whole thing end to end on his side. So this is in a custom creator application, and it's a system for managing time off within that application. So we can't get into the nitty gritty of everything the app does, but for one of our clients, essentially this application does their entire business. It is their field service management. It is their timekeeping. The data comes out of here and is used to run payroll. Hunter coded in all of the relevant labor laws for the state of California to calculate what that payroll should be. It tracks inventory that's moving. It's got a whole mapping GPS functionality. So big application. One thing that it didn't have was time off tracking. So, employees take time off. That affects your operations, right? You need to know that. It needs to go on to the time tracking. They need to not be able to be assigned for new jobs in that period, right? It has a lot of implications. So what we did here is essentially build out the functionality for an employee to be able to submit a request for time off. That request routes to the person in the system that's identified as the manager or approver for that employee. If it is approved, it will go ahead and add itself to the work calendar, right? So that when you're going up and you want to schedule a job, you can very easily see, oh, Hunter's out of office next week, so I can't schedule him on this job for Tuesday. Maybe I could pre-schedule them when they get back. So just increases the visibility of that data, right? So you've got it right in there while you're doing all your scheduling. If that time off request is denied, it will prompt the denier for the reason for that. And then send it right back to the original submitter so that they know that, it was denied and they can try submitting for a different date period, or maybe they need to update the reason that they included, whatever the particular business rules are. But at the end of the day, just a nice build. I mean, not from a technical perspective, the app is crazy. This part was a more straightforward bolt-on than some of the things we've done in this particular build out. So really kind of just a form, the calendar view, the approval process, automated notifications. But it's helping them out a lot, right? Because now they know, hey, Hunter's out, so don't schedule them. Because having to reschedule the day before when you realize that someone's scheduled for something they can't do is a huge pain, right? You got to shuffle everything around, maybe bump back a day. So nice work, Hunter, on this. Should be pretty helpful for that team.
So I've just, without saying the client, 911, am I on the right tracker? Yep. Very cool. Very, very cool. So by the way, I said the other day, I said to someone, I said, hey, what's the 411? And they said, what's that mean? Right? So
I know that one. I know that one.
But that's drifting away, right?
Yeah.
You're too young to know. It used to be you had to get on the phone and say, hey, what's the number for Chili's in Irvine? And they would say, they would just connect you, by the way. It's quite the service. Cost you anywhere from 50 cents to $1, Yeah.
That's a good business right there.
Oh, phone company lost some profit on that. Anyway, nice job, Hunter. And with that, let's really this time get on into the code share. So Tyler, you were super excited about this. This is get a CRM field's data history via API. So it's going back and looking at the logs and scraping them for a particular field. Is that what it's doing?
Yep, essentially. So in the CRM, anytime that an update is made to a record, an email is sent, really anything is done, it logged itself into the timeline history for that record. Until the API version 5 that was recently released, there was no way to actually get data from the timeline programmatically. So now that that's available, you can actually write code that references like the previous value of a particular field. And it seems, overly nerdy and technical, but use cases of this actually come up all the time, right? So like if a deal goes to close lost from stage 1, maybe we don't need to do anything. If deal goes to close lost from one stage before closed 1, maybe that should get escalated to a manager to see if we can save it, right? Because we were so close, right? But previously, you just in a script couldn't reference what the previous value was. You can only get that it's closed lost now. And there were workaround ways to do this. You could build like a previous stage field and then set up like a time delayed update and yada, yada, yada. That gets a little messy and adds unnecessary fields. This is a real proper way to do it. So essentially getting the whole timeline, filtering it based on the particular field you care about, and then, proceeding accordingly based on that value. So yeah, really nice code share. Cool that we got this up so quick because V5 just came out like a week or two ago. So yeah, shout out to Greg on this one.
Nice. All right, and of course, always Elizabeth gives it a big thumbs up. So, whenever Elizabeth Clark gives it a thumbs up, all you little
it's good.
coder geeks out there, you need to go ahead and jump on that. So there you go. All right, with that, let's head over to Zenatta and see what we got going on over there. If you don't know, over at Zenatta.com, we have everything. We have all of our resource libraries. We have our blog, the CRM Zen Show. Everything is kept track of here. By the way, we're in the process of making some major back-end changes to our site. So it's looking a little wonky on some of the formatting. Bear with us. It's going to take a week or two. There's thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of pages. And we're doing the site's gotten so big, we need some efficiency. So that we're putting in place now. Anyway, 8 tips on how to thrive in a virtual work environment. And so basically, if you're still working virtually, and a lot of people are, by the way, on this topic, sometimes I digress on this show, Tyler.
Oh, no, never.
Those times. So it turns out that, companies, there's all this thing like, oh my gosh, Amazon's asking people to come back to work and Apple's asking people to come back to work. You know who isn't asking people to come back to work? The U.S. government. The U.S. government. Average occupancy is 7%. I read an article in the journal.
All the buildings.
Well, that's the thing. Like, hey guys, we have billions and billions a year in real estate. And it turns out we probably just didn't need all these government employees anyway. So I guess they don't want to come back to work anyway. I'm just going off on a tangent here. A great article on that. I was really kind of shocked. I'm like, oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. It's interesting to me to continue your tangent a little, like what the drive is for these large tech companies to bring people back. I mean, you look at someone like Amazon, it's like, you're telling me Amazon doesn't have the tools and capabilities to track productivity for a remote workforce? Like, we have those tools. And they're the second biggest company in the world by market cap. So like, surely they don't need someone in an office to know if they're working, right? I mean, if I can know that, then surely Bezos can know that too. Is it a commercial real estate thing? Maybe that's too big of a tangent. We just go down that whole rabbit hole of they want the valuation to stay up, but it's weird. It's weird to me. I don't get it.
It is strange.
I love not paying rent for an office, right? It's great.
Well, I remember when we first started together, you said, Brett, I swear to God, you ever rent an office, I'm quitting. I'm out. I mean, you were joking, but there never is a reason in our business. There's virtually no reason whatsoever for us to have anything. So, but a lot of companies, you're still virtual. So if you are virtual, here is 8 points on how you can continue. This seems like a little late in the game, but here it is on optimizing your remote working. But I think these are good. This is like, hey, people who have really mastered this over the last, 3 years. Here you go. It's funny though. There was a book, a buddy of mine named Mike Elgin put out a book called How to Be a Digital Nomad. That was his whole thing. He was the guy that coined the phrase digital nomad, wrote the book on this. It's got to be over 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And this was his whole thing, is like, there's no reason you can't be a digital nomad and do that and go for it. So anyway, here's how to thrive in that digital environment if you're doing that. And next year, you will not know where I am, Tyler. I'm going to be coming from whole different, this background will look the same. I actually was looking at some real estate in Mendoza, Argentina.
Oh, look at that.
Couple months down there, kind of in the heart of wine country. And I'm talking to these people and I'm like, hey, internet, it's got to be rock solid. I need to be able to do Zoom. I need nobody to know that I need it rock solid. These people are like, dude, that's what we do. We work remotely and we're in our house. We have it. It's, and they gave me the upload and download speed just as good as we got here in the States. So yeah,
there you go.
That's going to be the first, no one will know. One weekend I'm here next, but you literally can work from anywhere and no one would know,
Yep. It's a great new world. The big one, I like point number 2 in this article, the work-life balance. That was tough for me when we first started. My office is in my room, right? I was still wrapping up college. So having a room where you can close the door and leave the office, I feel like is almost a requirement for me in like a remote work environment. Just super.
When you first started working here, you had grad school work-life balance.
Yeah, where I was in class writing code.
One time, you were in a lecture.
I walked out of a lecture to take a client call. The client we still have to this day in the hallway. In the hallway by a trash can. I just sat there and took the call. So yeah, different world nowadays.
Yeah. And by the way, over at Zenatta, if you don't know, we've got, like I said, kind of everything here around our resources and our resource library. But I did want to point out that our team training is more than just team training now. We have also rolled out projects training, and man, are we getting some uptick on that. So if you want to train your entire team on Zoho projects, that is out, and we would love for you to, you might want to take a look at that course. And coming soon is desk team training, and then whole marketing team training. That's not going to be on a specific, that's going to be basically all of kind of the marketing tools. So campaigns, SalesIQ, and all those kind of things tied into Zoho Social. A lot of those marketing tools, I think, going to be ramped into this 7-day course, I think is what it's going to look like. Have you seen the final curriculum on that one yet, Tyler?
Yeah, for projects, it's set up similarly. So you've got the admin track where, admin users are going to learn every single thing. One nice thing with the projects team training is section 1. Some of the initial trainings are kind of concepts, making sure that, the user understands project, milestone, task list, task, how they all break down, how they all roll up. Then it kind of gets into the configuration, back-end settings, the usage of the product. So yeah, a little shorter, I think 4 days to get through rather than 7, just less settings, that need to be covered than in the CRM one. But yeah, absolutely a great place to start if you're getting into Zoho projects.
Fantastic. All right, Tyler, with that, let's head on over to YouTube and check on our tip of the week. So this one comes from Josh, and it is on Zoho Creator. It is game UI design using URL and query parameters inside of Zoho Creator. Josh, our VP of operations, he and Greg are always doing some crazy things around games. We have a team meeting every Friday, and we created a game around a game show where you answer questions in columns on a board for 300 Alex. You get the idea what game that could be. We created a game just like that, and basically, Josh is going to tell you how we did it, how we made it look all cool, because it does not look like a Creator application.
No, it does not at all. It doesn't even look like you could imagine it's built in Creator. So
yeah, it's pretty interesting, and this was a live presentation. So anyway, this was a premiere that launched, but if you want to check that out, it's kind of well worth taking a look at. And you will learn how to make things look pretty in Zoho Creator. And we do a lot of this too. I mean, our portal, a lot of people ask us, we have a portal for all of our clients to log into. It does not look like a Creator application. There's so much you can do with HTML and CSS and various other things. They make things look really, really amazing. But anyhow, so as always, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Zenatta, and please subscribe. All of our videos are there. This week we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're about to have 5. So we're on kind of a video a day tangent lately, Tyler. It's a lot.
It is a lot. So yeah, check it out. Hopefully you will find something useful for you.
Fantastic. All right, buddy. 5 years in the bag.
5 years in the bag. That is time flies.
It does. It does. So, yeah, we thought last week, but Freddie determined that there were 53 weeks in one of the years, so that's why it's off by one.
Got it.
Yeah, but it actually is probably a little more than 5 because we had the cease and desist. Remember, because the show was original
when it was This Week in Zoho Twiz. We should circle back on that. That's a good name, man. Such a good name.
I did. I circled back on Twiz about a year ago, and I was given the big. So,
make sense to a certain degree. I get it, but
This Week in Zoho, but that is gone. But anyway, that's pretty much what this show is, guys. Everything that happened in the world of Zoho last week, and we've been bringing it to you for 5 years. We've enjoyed doing it, so thank you so much. And as always, if you would like to get a hold of Tyler and myself, please head over to Zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting. We'd be happy to talk with you.
And on the website is where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And as always, if you found this video useful, entertaining, a little bit unhinged, make sure to like and subscribe down below. And if you have any questions, comments, feedback, drop those in the comment section, and you very well might be featured on next week's edition of Zaz. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next time.
We're out! 5 years. Jiminy Christmas.